Alright guys, after years of living abroad, Southeast Asia, and now Kenya here in Africa, I've noticed some interesting things. And people back home probably imagine one version of life abroad, and newcomers arrive expecting something completely different. Then reality hits. And so today I want to talk about what people get wrong about living overseas. No hype, no fantasy, just the real experience, because if you understand this before you go, you'll have a much better experience. So let's go ahead and get into it. Stick around.
I'm tired of waiting here, same four walls, same fading year. Got these plans stuck in my head, Southeast Asia calling me instead. Bangkok nights and Bali shores, sick of dreaming on something.
Hi guys, today I am at this outdoor cafe. Really interesting place. If you get to Nairobi, Kenya, check it out. It's called The Palette. And the waiters are all deaf. And on the menu at the beginning on the first page, there's different hand signals to help communicate, like if you want hot, cold, large, small, things like that. But yeah, you can kind of get a little bit of a view behind me. Really cool place. I really kind of like this place. It's pretty unique. So I've got my cappuccino and we are ready to go. And like I said, moving forward, I want to be able to make some videos out and about a little bit and just kind of show you what Nairobi in particular, but Kenya has to offer. All right, so the number one thing, guys, is it's not easier. It's just different. I think a lot of people think it's just going to be easier when they get overseas than life before, but it's not really. And I think, again, a lot of people think moving overseas makes life easier, and it doesn't. It just makes life different. So, yeah, the cost can be lower. Yeah, the place can be slower, but you're also navigating new systems, language barriers, cultural expectations, unfamiliar bureaucracy, and simple things back home can become complicated. Success abroad, I think, comes from adaptability, not escape. So the first thing I think people get wrong big time is that it's the cost of living myth. And I think people hear cheap and they think luxury for pennies. But that is not always the case. In fact, sometimes, and a lot of things, will be more expensive. So again, that's not the reality. Yeah, you can live cheaply, but lifestyle determines cost, even overseas. So if you want imported foods, modern comforts, modern condos, nightlife, and Western comforts, then your expenses are going to rise pretty quickly. And again, the people thriving overseas, I think, understand value, not just the low prices. And then 3, I think our cultural differences are real. And this is where I think many foreigners struggle. I think things operate differently. Communication styles differ. Time moves differently. And priorities differ. So if you expect everything to function like home, you're going to feel constant frustration. There hasn't been a place yet that I've really said that, oh, things are so smooth. The closest I've gotten probably would be Thailand, to be honest, in a lot of things. But you do feel constant frustration. Most of mine came from living in the Philippines. I think most people who have lived there or even have traveled there for any amount of time will know this. But if you adapt instead of resist, then I think life becomes a lot smoother for you. And then the number 4 thing is dating abroad isn't easy. So I think also, again, there's a myth that dating overseas is effortless, and it's not. It's different. You know, you're navigating cultural expectations, family involvement, financial perceptions, social dynamics, And if someone arrives naive or desperate, and there's a lot of that because they have been love-starved in the West and haven't been in a real relationship in years, so a lot of them do come over desperate, then they learn hard lessons quickly. So confidence, clarity, and I think boundaries matter much more overseas, not less. And I think people come with the opposite in mind. And then number 5 would be safety and health awareness matter. And listen, every country has risks. Some are safer than Western cities, some require more awareness, like Nairobi, for example. And health considerations differ by regions. Philippines is a good case in point. But that doesn't necessarily mean fear, it just means responsibility. So understanding your environment and taking precautions isn't paranoia. I think it's just maturity. And then number 6, loneliness and community. And I think here's something that people kind of rarely talk about, and that is living overseas. It can be exciting, but it can also be a bit isolating at times. I've had moments in my life here in the Philippines, Thailand, even here in Kenya, that it can be a bit lonely at times. You know, if you don't really know anybody when you travel, it's hard to connect with people that come from the same walk of life, or you even have the same interests. Just because you come from the same country or you come from an English-speaking country doesn't mean you're going to be lifelong friends right away. Far from it. But you know, when you leave behind lifetime friends and familiar support systems. But I think you also gain new friendships, cultural connections, and personal growth. And I think the key is building community intentionally. Those who do, I think, thrive overseas. It helps that I have a YouTube channel, because I always have people, even in Nairobi, surprisingly, I've had about a dozen people already reach out to me where I've met up for coffee. And that was the last place in the world, or this is the last place in the world that I thought people would reach out and say, hey, Gio, I watch your channel. But surprisingly, there has been about a dozen. So again, if you build community intentionally, then I think you are not going to struggle as much. And number 7, I think some people thrive and others fail. I see it all the time. Some people do really well. They hit the ground running. And other people, they fail. And they end up going back home, and they do it in a pretty quick fashion sometimes. I love the sounds of the beautiful birds all over here. But, you know, living abroad magnifies who you already are. So if you're adaptable and patient, then you'll grow. And I think if you're entitled or inflexible, then you're going to end up struggling. So location doesn't fix your personal problems. I think it just kind of reveals them. Also, money habits. People who live check to check, no matter how much farther your money goes here, will still have the same issues here. They think, well, you know, I'm barely surviving on 2,000 US dollars a month in the US, check to check. Now that can be understandable, but still, I think a lot of things with money are just money habits. And so they come over here, and even though that 2,000 goes much further, well, they just up their spending on a lot of things. And the same habits continue, check to check. And number 8, why I think many people eventually leave, and I've seen it, 10 years now. I see so many people have come and gone. Ones that I thought were going to make it, others that I didn't think were going to make it and ended up making it. But not everyone stays forever. Some miss family, some miss familiarity, and some struggle to adapt long term. And I think that's okay, you know. Living overseas isn't about proving something. It's about discovering what works for you. Listen, at the end of the day, life abroad isn't paradise. It isn't escape. It's simply a different way to live. And if you approach it with realism, adaptability, and awareness, then it can be one of the most rewarding decisions you ever make. So guys, if you've lived overseas or are currently living overseas, or even if you're thinking about it, drop your experiences down below. And this is Geo on the go, and we move smart, and I will see you guys in the next one. Ciao.
Sick of dreaming, want something more. Pack your bags, don't hesitate. Geo, let's go before it's too late. Time keeps slipping away from us. Keep living like this, away from us.